Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Christy's Musings. I'm Christy. If you're my friend, you can call me Tigger. My daughter and I went to see the movie 28 Years Later the other night. 28 Years Later is a 2025 post-apocalyptic coming-of-age horror film produced and directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. The third installment in the 28 Days Later film series, following 28 Days Later 2002 and 28 Weeks Later 2007. It stars Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Alfie Williams in his feature film debut, and Ralph Fiennes. That's out of the way. So, this movie, if you were expecting 28 days later, think that, but on crack. um, okay, so the movie starts out with a bunch of kids watching Teletubbies. And by the mom screaming in the background, we learned that the little boy and all of these little girls, this is Jimmy and his sisters. And we're like, what the heck is going on? Because the mom, is yelling at them, stay in the room. And their kids, they're so focused on this TV and their eyes are darting back and trying to figure out what's going on with all the chaos. And Jimmy is the only one with the wherewithal for self-preservation, and he manages to get out of the house, and he takes off running to his dad. Now, take a little side trip here, and remember that this is a rage virus. These zombies are filled with rage, right? I thought that I would give you some of my perspectives from a Christian standpoint. I'm trying to keep it down to as few spoilers as possible to get my points across. So again, this is a rage virus. And so these zombies outside of the home and outside of the church, they're like these ravening wolves that you hear about in the Bible. So Jimmy runs to his dad, but his dad is terrible at protecting his family. And I just want to be perfectly honest with you. He had a view of the apocalypse as being something to be welcomed. And so to me, that is a picture of people today that have a wrong interpretation of prophecy. So many people are waiting on the apocalypse that they're not doing anything to take care of the things that are happening around them. And also, the dad is a picture of many fathers today, in as the mom was the one trying to take care of the children, protect them, and get them all huddled in like what Jesus said he wished he could take the children and hide them under his wings. Well, the mom was doing her best to fight off these zombies, and that's a picture of American and world women, Western women, I guess I should say, today, where they're left trying to take care of things while the dads do whatever, right? The movie is about this young kid named Spike. Like I said, it starts out with Jimmy, and then shoots to the church. But then it picks up, and there's this kid named Spike, and he lives on this island. And I know I'm gonna tear this name up. It's Lindisfarne, and this island's separated by this causeway that is controlled by the tides, and the tides cover it up every so many hours, usually at night. So anyway, Spike and his dad Jamie were going to go to the mainland to fight zombies. Like I said, it's a coming of age. He feels that 12-year-old Spike is old enough to start popping heads. So in the movie, they had these names for their zombies, and there were fat zombies that crawled on the ground, and I just called those fat zombies. But then there were these others that were like Cro-Magnon men, they're like all beefcakes and things hanging out and everything, and prosthetics. Prosthetics. Never thought I'd see the day. But anyway, there's different types of zombies in England. And like I said, Spike is there to fight them. Well, some things happen, and then it ends up being Spike and his mom, Isla. That's how I'll put it, so that I won't reveal too much for you. So, Spike and his mom, later in the movie, they go and they look for Dr. Kelson. And this Dr. Kelson's played by Ralph Fiennes. And to me, Dr. Kelson was the most human person in the whole movie. He was trying to hang on to his humanity, and he was trying to remind people that these zombies were once our brothers, our sisters, these people that cohabitated this world with us. But he is still being driven to madness with trauma. When Spike and his mom Isla show up, and by then they managed to have a child on the way, his humanity, Dr. Kelson's humanity, comes out when he's treating Isla. But for me, I think the most telling part of the movie was the end. Spike has decided he's going to go on a walkabout. He doesn't want to go back to the island where his dad is. He's angry with his dad. He's got to figure things out. He'd rather deal with zombies than to deal with his dad. So Spike ends up getting cornered by a pack of the ones I call the Cro-Magnon zombies. They're supposed to be alphas. And it seems that Danny Boyle is going to end the movie with Spike getting unalived. But lo and behold, out spins these towhead characters in vibrant tracksuits. And they whip up the zombies. But first, Spike is told by this character named Jimmy that he has to pledge to become part of their group. And that to me has some religious, cultish undertones. So, Jimmy, like I said, we haven't seen him the whole way through this movie. And then all of a sudden, here's Spike getting attacked by these zombies, and this music, this crescendo of music starts. And like I said, out pops all of these towhead zombies led by Jimmy, the boy that's now grown up, the boy from the beginning that's now grown up. And he's dressed like a priest and he's wearing an upside down cross. From what I have learned online, Alex Garland and Danny Boyle are depicting Jimmy as the late Jimmy Savile. Now, we in America don't know who Jimmy Savile is, but Jimmy himself, he's referred to as Sir Jimmy Crystal. And Jimmy has been raised, like I said, on Teletubbies and television and shows like with Mr. Seville. And so these are his memories of a happier time. And to me, this is a statement about trying to rebuild things or trying to direct history. In America, we've heard the slogan, "Make America Great Again," right? But you think about it, like my coworkers, they hear that slogan and they're black and they're multinationals and they're like, when was America great? Because they know the struggle that they have had. So what time are these people, when they say make America great, what time are they referring to? Because for it to be good for you, it may have to be bad for someone else. So Jimmy remembers the Teletubbies, and he remembers the period of time where James Saville was a fixture on television, and over in Britain he was a fixture on television from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. If you remember correctly, though, the zombie apocalypse was supposed to be happening in the early 2000s, right? We're in the made up believe world of where Jimmy and Spike are, right? So Jimmy doesn't know about Seville's predilection towards pedophilia. And that's the problem when you're idolizing people from the past. Sometimes, either because we were naive at the time, and like for me, I think back on the 70s as being a great time. But then you think about if you learn the history, it's pretty bad with inflation and gas lines and stuff like that. Okay, so I don't want to get too far off. But when you're idolizing bygone eras, sometimes we misremember events. And so that's what's going on with Jimmy. And so, like I said, this cacophony of noise with the Teletubby music and the rock band and the twirling and the outlandish outfits. This is Jimmy trying to recreate and make his world great again. And he don't have all the facts. And so I'm sorry. I chuckled out loud when they showed this scene, and I'm like, "Oh great. Now Spike joins a cult." But from what I'm understanding and following up on this is that they're going to have a trilogy of these, another series of these movies. And so we'll wait and see what the other movies reveal. But like I said, the takeaways for me was just basically wrong thinking and not understanding the full scope of everything. I could get more into this Jimmy Savile character. Like I said, I'm not British. And so to me, he's a goofy, I guess to me, I would equate him with Captain Kangaroo. If I found out that Captain Kangaroo had a dark side, I guess that's the way. But I've already lived through finding out that a husband of mine was that way. So, ugh. So yeah. So that was my takeaway from 28 years later. I know I'm rambling. It's just mind-boggling. The whole movie. It was like a trip. So trying to like put it in some kind of cohesive ball of something. It's kind of hard, but I'll put the link from where I tried to quote that poem, which I think the poem in the movie, I kind of wondered, did they really need that? I mean, was there a point? But then I was thinking, the people that I know that's been in military training and had to go through hearing that poem, it's a sign of madness. And again, we go back to the rage virus. And the rage virus is about people, it's like their rage inside, which we all have as humans, is ratcheted up and on steroids. I don't know. Like I said, I'm starting to ramble, so I'll shut up now. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing the others. I love zombie movies, and that's a character flaw, I'm sure. But anyway, I love y'all, and I'll talk to you later.